You actually talked about that in next episode.
Let me start that just section.
Yeah.
Just going to do that. So Yay, you're here. Welcome to How to Be a Grown Up with CK and GK. Let's get started.
It's Tuesday.
Yeah, it is. Let's do this. We are so glad you're here today. Today we are talking about what to say when the family talk at the gatherings turns towards politics and you just can't even. So hopefully this is coming out just in time for you to listen to it before Thanksgiving on the road trip to over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house, you know? So let's do this.
All right. But before we do that, Caitlin, what are you doing in January? I want to discuss the state of our union.
Oh, goodness. That's Jenny, my glowingly tricky warrior. I don't know. It's a generator that does this. I'm going to have to start doing it myself because some of these are just so random that I just can't even. So, okay.
Well, let me tell you, political pickup lines, there's a lot of them out there.
Ew.
And some of them are not as middle of the road as let's discuss the state of our union.
No. Ew. Okay, so again, as I mentioned, we're talking about what to say at family gatherings when the talk turns towards politics and you are just not on the same page as your family. So today's sources are two pieces. One is this lovely Instagram account called Kind Minds Smart Hearts, _Smart Hearts. And it's run by a woman named Jackie Santian, and I love her. She's got really nice parenting tips, and she also shares funny memes from parents. So check her out. And the other, the heavily cited source today is 11 Things to Say to Your Relative Whose Politics You Hate by Angela Hott in Time Magazine, which was a fabulous article. And the blog post for this episode is probably going to be pretty limited to go read that article. But just in case, you'll be able to find the video from Jackie in the blog post. And I would highly recommend that you read the article. It's very helpful. Before I get to that, I do want to acknowledge that this election was tough for a lot of people, myself included. And as a result, I took this article to heart. I firmly believe in doing what you can to protect your peace during this time. And so that's what kind of this is about. And as Jackie from Kind Minds Smart Hearts reminded me, the holidays are temporary. It is okay to put up temporary barriers to protect yourself. It's okay to prioritize your mental health. She ends this video that I'm going to put in the blog post for this episode by saying, one of my friend's very wise sons said, I think I've made enough memories with this person.
Oh, wow.
If that's you, that's okay, right? Otherwise, just remember this is temporary, and ultimately the goal is to be able to move forward. So that's the hope here.
I will tell you, in the fall of 2016, my dad started a conversation with, is it okay to talk about the election?
Very interesting.
And I was like, wow, thank you.
That's a very respectful way to go about this. Very respectful. And I love that. And we're going to get to that. The thing is, some people are saying, I'm not going to family get-togethers. And I'm not here to tell you whether or not you do that. Again, as I said, I believe in protecting your peace. So if that means that you can't do it, then that's what that means.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I get it.
But it is really difficult to opt out of family get-togethers. So here are some ways to protect your peace when you do have to attend. Okay. One is to make your intentions clear ahead of time by saying, point blank, I won't be talking about politics today.
Perfect.
Okay. You are emphasizing that you want to keep the focus on the kids or on the festivities or whatever. And you're going to ask straight up for a commitment to avoid talking about it. Okay. And chances are it's going to come up anyway. And when it does, you can say, okay, that's enough of that. pass the gravy or whatever, opt out.
Right.
Or remind everyone, hey, we are not talking about that here today. And let it go. Okay. Yeah. So that's the first one. I won't be talking about politics today. The second one is, if you're choosing empathy, can you tell me a story that helps me understand how you came to believe that? So here's what the article says. It says, asking for the story behind someone's beliefs can help us remember that our family members are complex and that their ideas come from a place that we might recognize even if we don't necessarily subscribe to those beliefs. So the example given here is, maybe I disagree with my uncle deeply, deeply, deeply about guns, but his story about his sense of accomplishment and belonging after shooting his grandfather's rifle for the first time might help me remember kind of where he's coming from, right?
Right.
Just as we want people to have empathy for how we feel, the best way to do that is to model empathy ourselves, right? So there we go. This one I kind of like because it feels a little petty. I don't like it. But here we go. It's, if I had heard only what was in your news feed, I'm sure I'd think the same thing, but I've had different experiences in my life.
You could even just, if you wanted to dial it back a little bit, you can just say, I've had different experiences in my life.
Yeah, you really could. So one of the sources cited in the Time article is someone named Neelan Parker, who is the executive director of Common Ground USA, which is an organization that's dedicated to building peace. She considers this a very gentle reminder that even the most compelling news stories don't necessarily apply equally to everyone's lives, right? Because everyone has different experiences. Here's another one, number 4. What kind of compromise or solution might work for both sides? And maybe reframing it as, how do we work to come up with a solution that's inclusive and that's helpful for most people? You're disarming them by putting them on the same team, right? You're saying that ultimately we have the same goal. Let's work together toward unity to come to that. Okay, number 5. And this is one of Jenny's lines that she's used on me. I've heard her use it on her husband. It tends to be a distracting line for her sometimes, but the line is, tell me more. Or you can
say more about that.
Say more. Okay. Even though you might not want to hear more, so this might be a little counterintuitive. If you can convince someone that you actually do want to hear what they have to say, it disarms them. They stop ranting about it and they start talking about it. And honestly, it's kind of calling them out on anything that's inflammatory. They'll chill a little bit is the usual reaction. Okay. And maybe they'll actually listen to what you have to say also, because you've given them a chance to speak. But if they're coming
from a space where they feel like they don't have permission to share, or they don't have the space to talk, and you give them open permission and say, no, I want to hear from you, tell me more, it really does turn off that defense. It does, yeah. And make it a conversation rather than a lecture.
And they're not backed into a corner anymore, right? Like that. Right. One of the things that I've experienced in my conversations with people who disagree with me politically is that the reaction tends to be very defensive and backed into a corner, lashing out, and letting them have the space outside of that corner tends to be very helpful. And you just mentioned the word permission, and I'm going to come to that here. This is number 6. Could I have permission to share my point of view? So this is part of a commonly used counseling technique called elicit, provide, elicit. And here's how it works. First, you find out what someone else's point of view is. Then you provide your own perspective. And then you ask the other person for their reaction. The reason this works is that the other person has actively said, yes, I do want to hear what you have to say, right? But if they say no, then don't engage. You don't have to. You're not gonna convince anyone. Why waste your breath if they don't want to hear what you have to say? But interestingly, it's very unlikely that someone's going to say, no, I don't want to hear what you have to say.
unless it's delivered as, can I have permission to share my point of
Right.
view? It's,
Delivery matters.
can I talk about what
Yeah.
I believe?
Exactly. Delivery
Yeah.
matters. Okay. Number 7. I'd like to have a chance to learn from each other because I respect you and I see the world differently. Now, I modified that line because the original line was, I respect you, but see the world differently. And we've talked about this over and over again, right? The word but often negates what you just said. I'm sorry, but is not an I'm sorry, right? I love you, but is not an I love you. So if you change it to, because I respect you and see the world differently, you've created a situation where two things can exist at the same time, right?
Right.
So the point of that line is to let your family members know that while you might disagree, you still intend to ground your discussion in a place of respect. And you genuinely want to understand where they're coming from. So here's the caveat here. You have to mean that. You can't just say, and I respect you and I see the world differently, and then not actually show respect. So if you don't want to learn anything from them, then please don't say that line, right?
Right.
And another thing is that line tends to be a little bit disarming and can often do the backing into the corner thing. So you might decide that you'll continue that discussion in private. Might just be better. Okay, number 8. I like this one. Maybe we could revisit this conversation when we're both feeling more calm. If you're both on edge, walk away. Walk away. And you can say, let's just take a break from this. Cheers. You know.
Or call yourself out and say, I can feel myself getting
There you
agitated.
go. Put it on you.
I think I need a break.
You just don't want to say something you're going to regret later. So getting heated is just not it's not the right time to have those conversations. Okay. This is my default when I'm feeling that I am losing control of a situation. Here we go. It's using humor. Okay. You can use humor anytime to diffuse any situation, but this one was like kind of silly. I mean, I'll vote for anyone who will boost the economy, cut my taxes, and prosecute people who remove their shoes on an airplane. Right? Change it. Add a pet peeve in there. You know, like people are going to glom onto that humor part and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's the worst. It's so gross. You know, or like, I'll vote for anybody who like says it's not okay for people to put their long, gross hair over the edge of the seat and have it dangle into my like tray table.
Gross.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, or, you know,
Right.
It's really helpful.
Because you're turning the conversation, and someone with conversational and social savvy will recognize that. And hopefully there's someone in your group who has that and will follow your lead.
Absolutely. I think that people like when everyone's in on the joke, you know, like it tends to bring everybody back together. Like I've said this many times, like I firmly believe that there is a love language that is laughter, shared laughter.
Yes.
And I think that that's a pretty common one for a lot of people. So anything you can do to kind of diffuse is going to be helpful. Along those same lines, this one was like, for say before an election, I'll just be glad when the campaign commercials are over with. But I am saying, I'm just glad all the commercials and text messages have stopped.
Yes.
You know, just everybody can agree with that statement because they were awful.
Right.
Incessant. Gosh, awful. And when in doubt, you can turn to sports, right? Right? Looks like the Cowboys probably won't beat the Eagles this year.
There you go.
Way to go, Dak. Right? Like you could turn it to something that's just not at all about politics if you can. And if it has to be a random comment that you just throw out there to diffuse, that's fine. People are going to be way more engaged in a fun conversation that's a debate about sports than they are about a conversation about politics that isn't so fun.
And depending on your family, it might work to just say that same phrase every time things start to get off track.
Right. Like, what's your go-to?
So
like,
how about those
Right.
Cowboys? Remember we were talking about the Cowboys?
Yeah.
My family, that would totally resonate. They would all laugh and be like, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And
all right, bring
if
it
you're
back.
not a sports family, then find something out. Find something else to do. Like, wow. So, how about that pie? Real good. Yeah. Excited? Let's have some pie. And everyone, it'll be awkward enough that people will understand that you're trying to shift the conversation to something else. If you need to, pull out like a fun conversation game and play at the table. It is okay to have backup support. We've talked about games before. There's some fun ones there's one like the would you rather questions. Print out a list of those and have them at the table, right? Like do something to make sure that you can steer the conversation in the right direction. Now, so we've got 11 of them. These are, again, in the Time article. The Time article is linked in our show notes and the blog post, so you can find them in both places. I'm going to end on this note that I thought was really important from the article, the Time article. Remember that if your family member won't let the election go and is just determined to pick a fight, you don't have to participate in that, right? Some people they just have to keep talking about it. They're going to ruminate over it and over it and over it and over. And this may even be someone who you agree with politically, and they're so upset and they just can't let it go. So you don't have to participate. You can take control over what you can, which is yourself. That might mean that you just have to remove yourself from the situation, whatever that looks like. If it means a diffuse comment, if it means getting up and excusing yourself to go to the restroom, if it means grabbing a puzzle and going and sitting in the living room, whatever that has to be for you, it is okay. Because again, this whole thing is about protecting your peace in this particular situation, which is a hard one.
You could passive aggressively do the dishes nice and loud.
Mm-hmm.
Bang those pots and pans in the sink.
You can. Whatever you have to do. It's okay. Let's take a break. For links to resources mentioned in this episode, head on over to ckandgkpodcast.com/blog to find everything you need. And be sure to follow us on social media. Head over to your favorite social media network and find us at CKNGK Podcast. And now, back to the show. Woo, that was a heavy topic. I hope it helps someone. I hope if you just pick one. Just pick one line and just glom onto it. It's okay. Repeat it over and over again.
Well, and if you have someone that is also not interested in having these conversations,
yeah, that will help a lot.
Right? It really helps to have that partner. I remember when I was home with a new baby, I had told my mom and my husband, if I ask for a cup of tea, that means please get this person out of my face.
Ooh, there you go. That's a good one.
And so I would say, okay, I think I'm going to make a cup of tea. And they're like, oh, you know what? I think it's time for you guys to go. I'm sure the baby's hungry, and they would wrap up the conversation and get the visitor out. So knowing that you have someone that you could lean on, whether it be your partner or a sibling that you do well with. And again, they don't have to agree with you politically. It's just someone that hey, I need to be rescued.
Yeah, absolutely. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that either. And another thing I would say is, do you remember when we talked to Kimball Lewis from Empowering Parents?
Yes.
One of the things he talked about was practice, right? Like practice saying the line. So if you have to, have someone walk you through like a potential scenario, a partner who knows your family and knows what their trigger lines would be for you, it's okay to look in the mirror, practice. It's okay to say it with the partner, like, hey, we're not talking about this, just get confident saying
and he is the one who said, you do not have to attend every fight you've been invited to.
You sure don't. Whatever you have to do.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk about obsessions, because
let me tell you what I'm obsessed with.
Let's hear it.
The Belafonte.
What?
The Belafonte is the name of my brand new Subaru.
Oh? Okay.
So, she's just lovely. She's blue wilderness, which is what I've always wanted.
She's a beautiful
the
color.
The seeds are made of plants.
She sits on a bed of algae and
Yes.
it smells really
So-
bad in there. Just kidding.
We got her the same day that Abby did her checkout dive for scuba.
Yay!
And in The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, which, you know, is a scuba diving
One of your
movie,
favorites too. Yeah.
one of my favorites, the boat is called the Belafonte.
Mm.
And it is blue, so we decided to name our car the Belafonte.
I like it. And it's a girl too, yes?
It has a sunroof.
Yeah, she does. It's a girl, right? She. Okay.
Yeah. She.
I don't want cars without sunroofs anymore. I love them. It's like one of my things.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah. I when my first car was a convertible. It was a 1974 5 MGB, which is a little British baby.
Yeah.
She was precious. I had her for like 2 months. And then in Colorado, it doesn't make sense to drive a car that's low to the ground because you can't drive it in the snow. So we traded it in. And my next car, we sold it to a friend who collected vintage cars. And then my next car had a sunroof. And I drove that car for like 12 years. I will never go back to a car that doesn't have a sunroof. If it doesn't have one, I don't want it. I don't want it.
It's my first sunroof. I
Oh.
love it. I love it so much.
Even if you just crack it a little bit, just that fresh, oh my God, I love it.
And it has a turbo engine, which I never thought I would be like this, but I'm like, I love the turbo engine.
Does it make the noise? Like, do you get all excited because you can hear it getting up or no?
It goes so fast.
Ooh,
It goes
that'd be
so
bad for my
fast.
lead
Like,
foot.
oh man, I love it so much. I'm like, oh, I'll like race someone off the line. I'm like, oh, I got up to 30 miles an hour way faster than you. Like,
And then you both stop at the same red light, and that person's like,
yes.
way to go, friend. You had to go
Yes.
fast, and now we're both in the same light. Good job.
Yes.
This is not related, only except the name, but when Sam was little, he had a little blue elephant that stayed in the car all the time, and his name was Harry Elefante.
Oh, love it. Love it.
Because anyway, my current obsession right now is getting decorated for Christmas, and that might seem early to y'all because it's, not Thanksgiving yet, but you and I are going on a cruise over Thanksgiving, and our family always decorates the day after Thanksgiving, and we won't be here. And I know.
Okay, so Abby asked if we could decorate before
Yeah.
we go. I'm like, oh, that's just one more thing on my
I know,
plate.
and let me tell you, it is stressing me out. I did do the Christmas tree last year, and it took me 4 days last year because I had to. The lights kept going out. Now I did the Christmas tree yesterday in like 3 hours,
Hey.
and there were plenty of lights that were going out, but this time, for whatever reason, when I would replace the bulb, it would actually work.
Oh!
And I got smart and stopped trying to, I would replace the bulb, see if it worked. If it didn't work, then I just tossed the bulb in the recycling. I didn't try to hang on to it and then keep testing it in other things. Just let it go. It's a Christmas light bulb. You get extras in every time you buy lights. Just let it go. I have probably 30 little baby light bulbs that I can just test it. So anyway, the tree is still on this morning. Which
That's
is amazing because last year it would last about 2 hours and then I would have to go through. I think I had to take off all the lights maybe 3 times last year.
Oh my
So
gosh.
anyway, the rest of the Christmas decor
our
is going
tree
up.
is not going up.
It's not?
It is 12 feet tall, and it is not going up before.
Oh, yeah,
Thanksgiving.
you guys have a big one. Ours is 9 feet. So we can, yeah. And I also,
It requires climbing the stairs.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, no, that's a lot.
No.
I will say this. I don't know how you do your Christmas lights. I don't just gently lay the lights on the branches. That is not for me. I can't do that. I have to be very deliberate and intentional about how I do them. The trunk is all white so that it has what my mom and I respectfully call the inner glow. We revel in the inner glow of the tree. And then the outside lights are color, but I used to wrap them around each layer going up and down. I would start at the bottom and then go all the way around the tree, kind of like a spiral, ice cream cone sort of thing. I stopped doing that. And now I go up and down. So I'll go all the way up and all the way down and all the way, and kind of go back and forth. It makes the lights go on faster. It's more efficient with the amount of lights that you have, and it's easier to take them off.
So we have this thing called a pre-lit
Yes,
tree.
I know. They don't have enough lights on them for me. If I had a pre-lit tree, I would still put more lights on it.
No.
Because my favorite thing ever is when there's no lights on in the house except for the Christmas tree, and it lights up the whole stinking room. Like, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah, no, we don't. No.
More lights. That's why I don't do pre-lit trees, because it's just me. I need more lights. Anyway, that's my obsession, is decorating for Christmas.
Okay, here's my gem. I am reading a book called The Disappearing Spoon.
Okay.
It is about the periodic table. It's little vignettes about how the periodic table was put together, and then stories about each of the elements.
Yeah.
And it is riveting.
Sounds boring.
Well, that's it. Every person that I've read it around is like, doesn't that make you want to fall asleep? Isn't that boring? And I'm like, no, it's so good.
I have gotten into one science book, and it was The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. But otherwise, I haven't gotten into it. But okay, I mean, Disappearing Spoon, I don't get it. But
so my gem has happened multiple times.
The people are saying, aren't you bored out of your mind?
Don't you think that book is boring? And I have to say, no, it's amazing.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, speaking of amazing, I'm going to have a little personal celebration. And this is more personal than I think we usually get, but I'm just going to say it. I am somebody who, at my 40-year-old mammogram, yay for being 40, there's just a little cluster of something that's going on. Right. And I had to have a follow-up diagnostic mammogram. And then they said, okay, this looks okay for now, but we're concerned. We want you to come back in 6 months. So I had my 6-month follow-up the other day, and everything looks clean right now. So it's not perfect. That little cluster of stuff is still there, but it hasn't changed.
But they can watch it.
And they're just watching it. And so that's really good that it hasn't changed in 6 months. And I'm celebrating that. And if you haven't already, I know we passed Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but frankly, every month should be that month. So check yourself if you haven't already. And if you're over 40 and you haven't booked your first mammogram, this is your reminder to please go do that.
Also, it's not so bad.
It used to be worse. I had a mammogram when I was 28 for what I would consider to be a similar issue. And that one really hurt. I don't know if I didn't know what to expect, or I think the technology has really improved, frankly, where they don't have to do what they've had to do. But it is kind of wild to see the amount of pressure they put on you. Like, they'll show you in pounds, like how heavy the pressure is on yourself. But I always just take a couple of Motrin before I go, and then go in, and I really don't have an issue. It doesn't hurt.
And I will tell you, the clinic I went to was also super fast.
Yes, it doesn't take very long.
Like, my appointment meant something. I got there at the time, checked in, and was taken right back. And the whole squish is like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's not bad. It's really not bad at all.
So if you haven't done it because it's producing anxiety for you, does it cause pain? Absolutely. But is it
temporary?
Very hard?
And
no.
the pain is
and
so
it's
temporary.
And let me tell you this. I just got an immunization, and it hurt when I got it because it's a needle. And now my arm is still sore.
That's not how a mammogram is.
I did not have residual soreness after the mammogram.
Not at all.
After I was dressed again, I was fine.
Yeah, it's super easy. I would just highly recommend going. Just go get it done.
Get it done.
All right.
Your insurance covers it. It's free.
Yep. And if it's a diagnostic one, they'll tell you the results before you walk out the door. So you don't have to go home and feel like you're in agony just waiting for information. So that's really nice. That's what happened with me. So it's nice.
Okay. So cheers to a clean mammogram. Thanks. Make good choices.
And protect your peace. You can do this. And happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
Hey friends, thanks for listening to the CK and GK podcast. Find us at CK and GK podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or anywhere else that you pod. See you next time.